We are back.
Okay, so if you are listening to us right now and are wondering where's our intro, we are actually continued from a previous recording that crashed on us. So apologize for that.
43 minutes ago.
So it's Brian Smith and Carrie Smith. What we have been talking about in the other video, the previous video, is the breaking video that came out of Texas about a pool party, which obviously a lot of details have yet to come out. Now I'm just now discovering that this was a public pool, or at least that's what's being reported now.
The 15-year-old kid, we were talking about that. He's a 15-year-old kid that was shooting with his video camera. And he said, I think a bunch of white parents were angry that a bunch of black kids who don't live in the neighborhood were in the pool.
Now, the original story I heard was that cops were responding to a disturbance between a mother at the pool party.
And this is very possible. This is only word from the kid that was shooting the video.
Well, the story I heard was from a reporter.
Okay, that's fine.
So the reporter from the Yahoo video, or Yahoo article, said that it was a response to a domestic disturbance between a mother and some girl at the party.
Okay, so this kid says everyone who was getting put on the ground was black, Mexican, and Arabic.
Well, in the cops' defense, everybody in the video was black except for maybe one or two. Maybe, and I say maybe. I have to go back to the video.
Hold on, honey.
I don't know if there were any whites, except for the cops, so I'm not sure.
And he says the cop didn't even look at me. It was kind of like I was invisible. In the video, one of the officers can be seen pushing a girl onto the ground on the sidewalk and then drawing his firearm.
Not on the girl, on some guy.
When others approached.
Right.
Others approached him as he had the girl on the ground. And when it approached, you hit me for no reason, quote, the girl on the ground was yelling. And so apparently this cop has been put on leave.
Well, and in the kid's defense, that cop was definitely a little bit out of control.
Oh, there is no question in my mind.
In their defense, he was a little bit out of control. However, as much as I agree with the kids and all the left-wing liberal idiots who are going to totally try to destroy cops nationwide in America over this video, and so I do believe that this guy probably shouldn't be a cop. I don't think he has the right temperament for it. That's true. While all that is true, I want to point out, too, that the behavior of these kids was not only very inappropriate at times, not all of them.
I'll be honest.
They were provoking him.
Well, there was a mob situation going on.
First of all, they wanted to be all up in the cops' business, and they wanted to debate and argue every little minute detail of every action that was happening. The one kid came up as this girl was getting arrested and kept on repeating over and over and over and over and over again, "That's my cousin! That's my cousin!"
But who cares?
That's my cousin!
Right, and who cares?
What does that mean? Like, why is it important?
Because it's your cousin, she should be let go?
Well, I thought about it. Okay, what is the motive of this kid repeating over and over again that this is his cousin? My first thought is, oh, maybe he wants the cop to know that that's his cousin, and then that way the cop will say, "Oh, if I had not if I had known that you were related, I wouldn't be treating this girl the way I am."
What?
Okay, and then I thought, okay, that's lunacy. That can't be it. So then I thought, well, maybe he's trying to. I can't even think right now off the top of my head what motive, but I do remember what I finally discovered was the final reason why he was doing that. You know why he was doing that?
Why?
It took me a while to figure this out. It wasn't initial. I finally figured out the reason he was repeating over and over and over again that it was his cousin was that afterwards, when they talk about it amongst all their friends, he can say, "I had your back. I had your back."
Oh.
I said, "That's my cousin." That's my cousin. I had your back. I was right there. I was right there.
Dude.
That's all it is.
Dude.
It's so that after the fact he could say, "Don't ever say I didn't have your back. I told the world that you were my cousin while you were resisting arrest." And I'll tell you what, as much as that cop was out of control, that if a cop tells you to get away when they're trying to do their business, or get on the ground, or stop what you're doing, or you're under arrest, if you resist that, it's going to get ugly. It's just like, was it Bo Snerdley or somebody said...
From Rush Limbaugh's show.
It was either him or somebody said, look, if you resist arrest, man, your life is in danger. You are putting your life in... And
whether you think you did anything wrong or not, and you may not have done anything wrong, but the cop there was trying to gain some kind of control. I understand that.
And the Bo Snerdley thing, which it may not have been him, but somebody, he was responding to the New York cigarette salesman. The guy was selling individual cigarettes.
Right.
Well, he resisted arrest, and it was clear that he was resisting arrest.
For those of you who don't remember, that's the man who said, "I can't breathe."
Yes, the "I can't breathe" guy, and he ended up dying.
Selling cigarettes.
Individually.
Screams he can't breathe, and then dies because of
I think the coroner said it was asphyxiation.
No, it was other problem. It was other heart.
He had pre-existing conditions.
He had massive,
which were never covered by Obamacare, because everybody knows that when you have Obamacare, you don't have any insurance.
No, and
you don't have medical care. I should say
all your conditions are pre-existing,
including pregnancy.
Speaking of that, have you? I've just recently filled out a new form for when you purchase a gun.
Okay.
And you got to fill out this background check form. They got it online now.
Okay.
So when you go to the store to buy a gun, you go through this whole background check and you answer these questions. One of the questions was, have you been discharged from the military other than honorably?
Ooh, okay.
I don't get why. Why would that be a question?
Well, why would any of them be questions? I mean, there's obviously... do they ask you if you're a felon?
Yes!
Well, because here's the reason I ask. Getting anything other than honorable discharge from the military is usually something pretty bad.
No, but why is that a prerequisite to you owning a firearm? Or not?
Well, for the same reason that they don't want felons to be able to get a firearm.
Okay. Anyways, I digress. There's another story we have in the second hour that pertains to, as well as the Obamacare, VA care, things like that.
Okay.
Anyways, back to this this whole lunacy. This was a crazy, crazy situation that escalated and got way out of control. And the cop behind it all, who's been suspended under investigation,
and probably rightfully so, not because he did.
Because before this happened, early on in the video clip, these kids, this kid videotaping with his friend, watched this cop blazing by him, and they're filming. Dude, the cop takes a header.
Well, he does he looks like he's trying to film a really cheesy action film.
It was he tripped and he did a roll.
Yeah,
he
didn't do a face plant. He did the cheesy action film roll. Yeah,
and apparently he had dropped his flashlight. So the kids picked it up and they started walking over to where the cops had stopped running. And he walked up. He's like, "Hey man, it's that cop's flashlight. It's his flashlight." No, it's his. So one of the cops was talking to a couple of the kids, very calm, no big deal. And the kid said to the cop, "Hey, man, you dropped this." And the cop looks at, "Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that." I mean, it was just a real casual thing. And then all of a sudden...
Well, it was already escalated. There were people running from cops.
I know, but this one cop was keeping his cool, trying to get the information.
I think all of them were, except for the one.
And this one cop went rogue. He went Rambo through the kids.
And this isn't going to look good for the other cops because they're
lumped into it.
Ignore it.
They're complicit.
They completely. Right. It was like they were like, "Man, this is what I think that they were thinking in
their
their
They're
head.
like, that's Jimmy. That's what he does." That's who
it's
he
as
is.
if you watch the video, watch the video, and this time, because it didn't happen the first time, but this time, watch every cop except for the one that was causing all the ruckus.
Right.
And it's amazing. They all act like he's invisible.
Right.
They act like, well, we're just going to act like this isn't happening. And they don't do anything to calm that cop down, and they probably should. And they probably think that they shouldn't. That's the problem.
So how far towards the end, how close towards the end do you think that one cop has the conversation with those kids? Maybe with a minute left?
Oh, no, it was seconds. There was probably 20 seconds left in the video. And
I've got it queued up if you want. 40 seconds left of the video.
Okay.
If you want to play and see if we can pick it up from there.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I personally told you to get on the ground and stay, didn't I? And what did you do when I walked away? I'm sorry. So you just did what everybody else did. And what everybody else did was illegal. You did it, and you got caught. They didn't. Now you're sitting here paying for it.
We just came in from work.
I don't have a problem. That's not my problem. I asked y'all to sit. You became a part of the mob. You could have been the guys that were doing right, and you weren't. So now you're sitting here in trouble. You're going to sit here until we get this figured out.
He says we want to go get our friends.
Okay, there's so much going wrong in this video. First of all, that guy at the end that you hear talking and sounding rational, he's upset, and he's trying to set these kids correct and tell them what they did wrong and what they should have done instead and not done. That was the guy that looked like he was escalating the situation.
The rogue cop.
He looks like the rogue cop. Right. But keep in mind, he had kids that he was trying to tell or question or tell to stop or sit down for a second. He had them completely, blatantly disregarding orders from him, which, I mean, I'm not a cop. We should probably interview a cop and ask him, what are you taught, and what are you taught that you're allowed to order people to do and have a reasonable expectation of them to comply with? What's legal and illegal? Like if you order somebody, like for instance, the cop that ordered you to get out of the house, you didn't have a legal obligation to do what they said.
Well, if you ask a cop, where are you taking me, and he says to the Waffle House.
Oh, that's an interesting one.
You want to make sure that you start to beg and grovel for your life and apologize for whatever you think you may or may not have done wrong.
Right, and here's another thing. These kids, well, I'll tell you what, man. What public school is doing to these kids is it's criminal.
And not only is it criminal, but there's stories out this week too that are unfathomable. That the public schools are teaching our kids. They're also, not only are they teaching them to do whatever they want, to do whatever feels good, they're teaching them, they're sexualizing them and allowing them.
Well, that's been going on forever.
Well, a math teacher this week said, go home, find a sex toy in your parents' room or condoms or anything like that and take a selfie of you, send it to me, and you'll get extra credit on the exam.
Oh, that's got to be a fireable offense. Come on. Oh, that was the principal?
The principal said, we're looking into it, but
looking into it.
He said that teacher, he's a jokester. It must have been a joke, but we'll look into it.
He could be the funniest guy in the world, and that may have been the kind of joke that he would like. I don't. It's a fireball offense.
It
Come on.
only came to light when one of the students told her mom, "Yeah, he brought it back up a second time and showed us a picture of Jimmy holding his mom's Jimmy." So one kid actually did go through with it.
I got to hear more context of this story. This sounds terrible.
You folks, if you want to hear crazy,
forget about the sexual part of it.
Follow me on Facebook, smithradio.com. You will be plugged into all the breaking stories.
All the craziness. No, but the point I wanted to make is that when you do something wrong in a classroom, the teacher says you're not supposed to do that and you're going to get punished. And then they always get out of punishment. I shouldn't say always, but there's too many teachers that are letting the kids completely slide on breaking the rules because they start acting all sweet and innocent. No, please, we're sorry. You cannot
you don't get
get
into that.
out of getting arrested or a ticket with 1,000 sorries. You will not. And these kids are finding out the hard way. And I hope they learn. I hope these kids learn. Oh,
don't do that.
Let's make a mental note.
Right.
Mental note. A sorry is not going to get. You're
and
not going to
screaming,
run.
"That's my cousin," doesn't do any good. To
That's
anybody.
my cousin. What? Why are you saying that? If I was standing there,
I got your back, man.
Right, if I was standing there, I would have had to have been like, hey, dude. Yeah, all right, we know she's your cousin.
Everybody in the whole crowd knows.
Yeah, what is that doing? That's my cousin.
I'm trying to find my friends. I'm looking for my friends. We just wanted to look for our friends.
Okay, and the cop did end up saying that don't make never
mind.
I don't care who you're looking for when I tell you to not run away from me when I'm trying to question. That's another thing about probable cause. I'll have to admit that I kind of have the cops back if they try to tell me that if I make eye contact with you or tell you, hey, come here, and you sprint in the opposite direction, that's got to be probable cause.
Put yourself in a police officer. Put yourself in the boots and 30 pounds of gear of an overweight, donut-eating cop.
Put yourself in the Dunkin' Donuts.
Sitting in a donut in a giant vat of coffee. and
oh my god!
Literally being on fire. Okay, so you're the cop. You've just been told on your little radio device that you have
Motorola.
Yeah, your Motorola. That there's a 5150 currently in progress.
And I don't know what that is, but I'm sure there's some listeners.
5150. If you're at a hospital, if you work at a hospital and you call out a 5150, that means you have a patient that is completely uncontrollable and you need police assistance.
Oh, so they were in a 5150.
They were in a 50. However, they weren't in a hospital yet.
Right.
Somebody's going to get waffled.
Oh, man.
And they will be in the hospital.
Well, that girl in the bikini girl got waffled.
She got waffled on the ground. So they call you here. There's 5150. So you're looking for the perp.
Okay.
And for those of you of the African American culture, I'm talking about a perpetrator, because the word I learned this recently. A perp is somebody who's a liar.
Oh, you mean they're not being honest?
Yeah. If you call
why you perping?
Why you lying? Why
Yeah.
you lying? You perping. You lying. So the perpetrator is out loose, and you're looking for him, and you see somebody, doesn't match the description, doesn't do it, but he's leaning up against a post because he's tired.
Okay, so is it George? George Thorogood.
Yeah, George.
In the picture here.
For the Hispanic community, Jorge is
Okay.
is leaning up against a post because he's tired, and the cop says, "Hey, you! You lean up against, I need some help. Hey, can I talk to you? Come here for a second." He's asking you because you've been staying there a while. He probably just wants to ask you what's
Maybe
going
he
on.
just needs some assistance.
I need your assist. And that is actually one of the key sentences you are supposed to recite immediately as you're pulled over by a cop and he approaches your window. You are supposed to say immediately, "May I help you or assist you with something?"
Okay.
That's what you should say. Because that is, as a citizen, helping the police officers. That's really what we should be doing, is helping them.
Okay.
So can I assist you?
Can I give a lesson?
Well,
If you're leaning up against a post
because you're tired.
and because you're tired, and a cop says, "Come here, I need your help," I believe you're actually allowed to say, you know what? I'd rather not. I got back condition.
I'm kind of busy. I've got to make
I'm
a phone.
tired. I'm tired.
Or you can take the other alternative.
I just don't have time.
Make a 180 on your heel, and then make beats on the street. I mean, just
A
bolt,
full-on
lightning.
sprint.
Yes.
Me personally, I think that becomes probable cause for breaking a law. I think I may be wrong.
I don't know,
and I'm sure there's a lot of libertarians that would say, "Whoa, Kerry, you're out of your mind."
Okay, hold on. Okay, to all you libertarians out there, let me ask you this: if a cop is in the vicinity, say, stand on a street corner, he ain't tired, and he's got 10 people standing around him, and I know this is all hypothetical, but seriously, this could somewhat happen. Out of these 10 people standing around him, one of them is the perpetrator. And he says to all 10 of them, hey, all y'all, stop, don't move, let me figure out which one of you I need.
Okay.
And all of them bolt. How is that in any way helpful or...
Well, no, the question is, are they now allowed to chase them down, tackle them?
Well, they did. That's what happened in the video.
Which causes injury.
Right.
And then cuff them and put them under arrest.
Well, if you've ever seen in a mob situation, what they'll do is that they'll take the extra heavy-duty, thick, wide zip ties.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll get but this happens in L.A., South Central, every Friday night on the corner of Long Beach Boulevard and Firestone. It's a huge intersection. Huge. Every Friday night, you'll see people laying all around the entire intersection and cars stopped and everybody zip-tied, sitting on curbs.
Every Friday night.
Dozens of people and dozens of cop cars figuring out who they want.
Okay. I mean, did somebody report something, or?
It's always crime go right there.
Oh, so something happened.
Right.
They got everybody zip-tied.
Low riders, gangsters, different gangs, Bloods, Crips. I don't even know if they're still around.
Probably
you get the
not,
Mexican gangs, you get the black gangs, and that right there is the meeting place. And when the cops tell them, you need to break this up,
it's zip tie time.
It's zip tie time.
Okay. All right. So this guy obviously didn't have zip ties. But
no.
He
needed a packet. He needed a pack of 200.
He needed to go to Sam's. He needed to go to Sam's. They got
get it on
a cellophane.
Get it on Hosang.
They got on Hosang. So yeah, he needed. It wasn't even that many kids, but just the way the kids were behaving has got to be a little unnerving for a cop trying to do his job there. You had people that were either coming as close as they could to you as possible to scream at you, or if you turned and said, come here, they would 180 and run away. And as soon as you leave them alone, they'd come back and start screaming at you.
Right.
Half of them with cell phones in their hands.
Right.
And, I mean, how is anybody supposed to... You know what? This is why all the cops have said, you know what? To hell with all of y'all in Baltimore. To hell with all of y'all. You're all on your own. And they didn't say it formally.
Right.
Because I don't know if there's an oath thing that they would be violating by just completely, blatantly not doing their job as a police officer. You're allowed to resign. But if you don't resign, I think that you might be violating an oath if you blatantly didn't do
if you see
police
somebody
work.
If you see somebody speeding clearly going 100 mile an hour and decide you're not going to do anything about it.
I would say that if your supervisor found out that you knowingly did not try to pursue somebody driving recklessly,
maybe reprimand you or something.
Well, I would think that they would say, bring you in and say, now what can
we got a budget to meet. That was clearly a huge $1,000 ticket.
Well, if you're driving recklessly, you could be arresting him and all that.
But Baltimore,
yeah,
the latest breaking news in Baltimore, folks.
This is the. I mean, I know there's lies, damn lies, and then the worst of all is statistics.
Yes.
But the thing is this is pretty cut and dry. There are some statistics that aren't lies. And when you see in Baltimore that the shootings and crime is way up and the arrests are way down, I mean...
They say the crime has doubled since...
the Ferguson
the
thing
Gray...
No, not what, I can't remember his first name.
Jimmy Gray. Since the incident happened with him, and that whole thing that went down... apparently this week, Mosby, who's prosecuting attorney in this case, she's black. She wants to make a name for herself. Apparently, this week she's trying to block the autopsy report.
Oh, because it would go against. It would cause
go against the narrative,
which is to create riots.
Right. Correct.
Right.
There was an article that pertains to this. We were talking about schools, what they're teaching in school. I read it. The title. You know me, folks. I'm a title guy.
Are you?
If a title or the headline grabs me, I'll read it.
You are okay. There's something called trolling.
I am. You can troll me all day long, and
that's the thing.
Fight.
There's two people involved in a trolling incident. You have the troll,
right,
and then you have the fish.
Okay.
Because the fish has to bite.
I'm always the fish.
You're the fish. Yeah.
I'd like to be the troll, but people see right through that so easily with me. Anyways, so the headline of this news article from Fox News says Mississippi superintendent won't say if he'll drop the charges against cheering spectators. I said, what? These schools again? So I started reading into it, and he's upset and charged all these students. It was a graduation ceremony.
Okay.
And he's charging the students for disruption by cheering.
Okay.
And he's going to court with it. I said, I don't
cheering spectators.
Right, cheering for the people graduating.
You mean just clapping?
And you know,
hooting
like
and hollering.
Yeah, like Arsenio Hall.
Okay.
You know,
for those of you, see, there's some young people here that are like, what are they talking? What is he talking about? Arsenio Hall's been off the air for a long time.
He tried to make a comeback.
Yeah, I saw that. It just didn't work.
No.
He needed to wait.
It's like bell bottoms.
He needed to wait till he's a little old. Yeah, he came back like bell bottoms.
Came back smaller and shorter.
And, you know,
Whoops.
Arsenio Hall had the box cut.
He certainly did.
Everybody did. Anyway.
So I started reading this article because
you got trolled.
Oh yeah, I was getting into it deep. Come to find out, the superintendent said no. The problem is that when one student's name is called, a group of kids start cheering and screaming and hooting and hollering so much and so long that the parents can't hear the rest of the kids' names being called.
Oh, so they don't call them, because like normally you would call a name. There'd be, I shouldn't say normally. I'm not talking about graduation. I'm just talking about in general. When you say something, the State of the Union address, perfect example. He says a line. Half the place stands up and cheers for about 30 seconds.
He doesn't want that.
Okay, so he does not want a State of the Union address. Okay.
Yeah, he said this is a graduation. It's a somber time, and
really, it's supposed to be.
He wants it to be a very special moment, a special time, and everyone goes through. Their name's called. They're handed their diploma, and at the very end, we will clap and cheer for everyone.
Okay.
I came to this school 4 years ago, and it was out of control. We're getting control now. And this is where it starts. I'm paraphrasing all that, but that's basically what the article said. I'm now on his side.
Because
I was at first getting ready to bash this superintendent, but now...
Well, because he was trying... You're saying he was trying to do criminal charges against these people?
Some kind, bringing up charges on people. I don't know what kind of charges you bring up on them.
I mean, yeah, that
seems a bit much.
I think this was talked about by Hannity, maybe, and I kind of agree with what he said, which is that you have the right to kick anybody out of the auditorium or wherever this is happening, wherever the ceremony is happening. You should have the right to have them removed, even if by police force.
Right.
That's if you can't get them. Like, listen, all right, this is kind of embarrassing to have to say to everybody because I don't want to treat anybody like children. Right. This is me on the microphone. I'm the superintendent. I'm the principal of the school, whatever. I get on the mic and say, listen, I need everybody to withhold their applause and cheering until after all the names are read, just like you said. Right. And then let's say it doesn't happen.
And
then
he claims that he had stated that at the beginning.
Right.
Because
that
this
makes
has been
sense.
going on for 4 years, and he said he's trying to get
Okay.
control. Okay.
So if it started happening, I would then interrupt the ceremony and say, listen, I don't want to embarrass anybody, and I don't want to, I just, we're all adults here mostly. I don't want to have to treat anybody like a child, but
we got to get through this in a timely manner.
At this point, I'm going to have the security ask anybody to leave who can't remain quiet enough that we can get through all these names.
Control themselves, yeah.
After that, we would start to go through. I would stop for every instance and have security remove them, because it's 3 strikes and you're out. The first one was the very first speech.
Right.
The second one is to interrupt to remind everybody and to warn them about removal.
Right.
The third is when you actually do it a third time.
Right.
You're out.
Okay. Here's the problem, Kerry. They don't teach self-control in schools anymore. But yet at graduation...
How about following directions?
Well, I don't think they teach that much anymore either. You're asking these kids to have some kind of self-control...
Wait a minute. Kids or parents? Who was cheering?
All of them.
The kids.
Kids and parents, yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, our society is just so messed up.
Well, not only that, but this also goes along with this whole cop thing.
Exactly. When the cop says get on the ground, and you say, "No, I'm not going to. In fact, if you make me, I'm going to call my mom." And then she gets slammed to the ground, and then she's clearly resisting.
Right.
Let's get that out on the record. On the record, she's clearly resisting.
Right.
And then as she's sitting there, not getting face down as she's being told, she starts crying, "Somebody call my mom!" Mommy's not going to come save you from this cop arresting you. You know what's going to save you from the cop arresting you? Doing what he says.
I just had an epiphany.
Okay, let's hear this.
For those of you in Westwood, it's an idea.
You're going to lose it. You're going to lose it.
No.
Because I do when I do that.
I'm thinking about our girls, our kids.
Okay.
What if your daughter and my daughters were out kicking it, having fun, getting a little wild, letting loose, and a police officer told all 3 of them, "Get over here and sit down. I need to talk to you." What do you think our kids would do?
Oh, they would get over there and sit down.
Comply.
Well,
immediately.
hold on a second.
Comply immediately.
Our kids are really young, and of course they would comply immediately. And I will argue on behalf of this idiot girl, I should say, that was in the bikini getting slammed to her face.
Right.
I would say that when she was 9, I'll bet she would comply too. I bet you she would.
Yeah.
So the question is, when our girls become 14, 15, 16, whatever age this girl was, she looked pretty young.
Right.
I would say maybe 14-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe even 13. I don't know. But
I was leading 14, 15.
Possibly, yeah. So my question is, when our girls think that they are the smartest thing in the world, and they know everything, and a cop says, "Come over here," then do you think? It's hard to imagine into the future.
I'd like to, because I talk to my kids about this all the time. We always discuss certain things. Matter of fact, my wife had all 3 of the kids in the car, and she came up to a police stop in the road. There's something going on, and as she was the next car, the cop walked up to her window, and she cracked the window open 1 inch, like you're supposed to do, no more. And the cop said, "Ma'am, roll your window down." She said, "No, sir, I'm fine. I can hear you just fine." He got a little hefty with her.
I can hear you. Are you having trouble hearing me?
Right. He got a little brash with her, but then finally gave in and said, "Okay, well, this ain't worth it. Ma'am, there's a wreck up ahead. You need to take a detour, go around." And then apparently they got into some kind of little bit of a conversation, and she told him, she said, "Sir, I've got babies in the car. For you to tell me to roll my window all the way down, that's just." And he said, "You know what? You know what, ma'am? You're right. You don't know me. Sorry about that."
You don't know me.
Right, as a cop, you don't know who I am.
Right.
And for me to tell you to roll...
Was he not in uniform?
He was, but it was like he had an epiphany himself. He's like, wow.
Okay.
And she said that he clearly told her, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, I think there's this, I don't know. It's almost like the cops are around the worst element of society all day, every day, for years and years and years and years on end.
And so they start to believe everybody is like this.
Well, and then this is how they treat civilians. And then when they get around nice civilians, compliant, law-abiding civilians, they're not going to change that treatment.
And by the way, yelling at a cop, I pay your your paycheck, yeah, that don't help.
It doesn't help, but neither
help.
does, that's my cousin!
True that.
That's my cousin.
This
what is that?
This came out this week on liveleak.com. And like I said, if you follow us, smithradio.com, if you follow us at Facebook, Smith Radio, whatever, you know what to do. You'll see that I posted this video up, and it says, warning, explicit, live leak, cop. Okay, apparently a cop got the call from 911 who said there's guys on the loose, and here's their description. Apparently Taylor, age 20, and the two men that he was with matched the description of the 911 caller.
Okay.
Who said the three men had flashed a gun.
Okay.
The cop walked up to these guys and pulled his gun, and said, stop. Stop. And they didn't stop.
Uh-oh.
Pop, pop.
In the back?
Cop shot the guy. And as the video from the cop, I think it's somebody was taking the video. Might have been the cop cam.
They had a cop cam?
Either the cop, because it had to have been the cop cam on the cop.
So what's your opinion?
He was looking over the guy as he's bleeding out, and he's like, "Buddy, stay with me, talk to me."
Okay.
Oh, he's not talking.
So were the guys that he shot, were they?
I don't know.
Were they lawbreakers?
I don't even know.
You don't even know.
Don't even know if this is that fresh, hot off the press, that you don't know. However, when they searched his body, there was no gun.
So,
and they didn't stop. And the cop is pleading with him while he's bleeding out. He's like, "Man, you should have stopped. Why didn't you stop?"
Okay, so we have a conundrum here. I personally believe that. Well, what's your opinion on it? Because I'll tell you,
dude, I would have stopped. I'm now.
Okay.
At first, I was in the camp of freedom to run. However, I am now in the camp because this goes apart. This is in line with all my ideologies and all my thoughts that you are a citizen first and there to assist the cops, help them out.
All right, so here's where I'm gonna throw you under the bus. You ready for this one?
All right.
We have the right to bear arms, and as such, that having arms isn't necessarily breaking the law. Just possessing it.
Right.
The Constitution guarantees that a law cannot be made that would make us a lawbreaker just by possessing it.
Right.
I don't think that a cop should be allowed to shoot any suspect unless either their life is in danger or somebody else's life is in danger.
I agree with you. I'm not saying that this cop was in the right by shooting him.
Okay.
I am not saying that at all. I think the cop realizes how wrong he was. You can hear it in his voice. And then at the end, when it is absolutely clear that this guy is absolutely dead, there's no question about it. Everybody knows it. The cop, it lets it go. He's like, yeah, man, he got what he get. I mean, it's unbelievable how the cop shakes it off.
Well, the cop, as much as it would be a tragedy if he's a family man with kids and all that stuff, he really needs to be charged with some sort of a crime that would be equivalent to a minimum of manslaughter. Because it should be pretty easy to train people to know that you don't just shoot somebody because, and I could tell you what this cop was thinking. based on your description of the story, I know what he was thinking. He was thinking, man, these guys are most likely.
All three fit the description.
So these guys are armed. And they're flashing a gun.
Apparently, that's what 911 said.
These guys are capable of killing somebody.
Even me.
Possibly even me.
Just by my presence as a cop, standing here, they may turn on me.
They could easily turn and just shoot on you.
Right.
Now they're running away from me when I directly ordered them not to. I could be saving at least one life by shooting these guys right now.
Dude, I couldn't come across my mind. I just couldn't fathom the idea.
But here's the thing:
firing on somebody that's running away.
Right, and the fact that he did is clearly in the wrong on his part, to the point where he really needs to be. Not only does he need to be charged, but all cops should be taught. Look, these people are allowed to bear arms.
This is what that dispatcher I talked to on the phone. This is something else he said to me. He said, she needs you to come out. She doesn't know you may have a gun. I said, what? My hands are in plain sight. I'm standing here at my doorway. You might have a gun in your back. We don't know. It's our safety. You need to go outside.
Well, I don't agree with that either.
No, of course not. Where are all these hypotheticals coming? Where are all these things coming up?
That's why you end up killing. He killed him on a hypothetical situation. The problem is the liberal media in America, both in news media, Hollywood media, movies, music, all of the above. Liberals have brainwashed Americans into thinking that if you have a gun, you must be intending on using it.
Right.
And so when this cop hears a rumor that a suspect who matches the description of a guy that's running away from him has a gun, he's already put it in his mind, oh, this guy's definitely intending on shooting somebody.
Right.
So based on a completely hypothetical narrative that may or may not exist at all in reality,
right?
He's going to shoot him. He's going to make himself feel better by saying, "I saved a life today." What? No, you didn't. Okay. You're guilty of manslaughter.
Right. No, without a doubt. Something else. There's police commissioner said bad old days of crime may be back. He's talking about New York and Boston and everything going on in these big cities. Chicago this week, there's videotape footage. Chicago gangs battling in the streets with Roman candles.
Oh, I saw that. Was that in Chicago?
Yes.
Dude, we did that when we were in our 20s. That is not a battle.
They're gangs.
That's playtime. Let me tell you something. Roman candles are a joke. We used to use mortars.
Yeah.
We used to shove a mortar ball down the tube and aim it at each other. Yeah, that could actually probably kill you. That could actually probably kill you.
Oh, no, definitely.
If it hits you just in the right place, that could probably kill you. Yeah. Like bottle rockets, all that stuff. Roman candles, that's actually safe. And I'm not advocating. Let's go ahead and put the disclaimer in the show right now.
Woo!
Do not try that at home.
Also, local parents are calling on the school's superintendent to resign after a smitten kitten field trip.
What? What is that?
The school chief's superintendent apparently knew about and knows about a teacher that took the whole class on a field trip to an adult store called Smitten Kitten.
How old are these people? The kids, I mean?
13, 14.
What? This is ridiculous. What? Was it an accident?
No, it was called the Smitten Kitten Field Trip.
Did she not know? Is it he or she?
He.
Did he not know? Did he think it was like a toy store? Well,
it is a toy store.
Oh my gosh.
Of sorts.
So he heard it was a toy store, and he said, "Oh, the kids will love this."
Has to do with kitty cats.
Oh no. I mean, I'm open for an excuse that it could be an honest mistake. Is that possible, or?
Yeah, oh man, you got me.
Did you hear about the guy that? Are we in lightning round yet?
Oh wow! No, I was just throwing out some of the stories that.
Yeah, because you're
related.
throwing them out
Sorry,
there.
just some of the things I wanted to get because I normally don't get to all those little things like that. But since it is related to this, we've got schools run by the government that are completely out of control, have no idea what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. They're
should be
completely
run by
incompetent.
local and state officials. This should be
at least
local. And
at
state
least if you're a communist, that should automatically disqualify you. And we got communists who have this statist attitude about life in general. They have this philosophy in their mind about how the world should be, how it should be run, how everything should be governed.
I mean, Hillary wrote the book, It Takes a Village.
Oh, okay, there you go. And it's weird. Back in the day, I would have never said that Hillary is a communist. And maybe to this day, maybe she's just trying to make herself look like that because we have a communist in the White House now, which would lead her to believe, oh, they want communism. Well, I better be a communist, which is very Clinton-esque. It's very Clinton-esque.
Well, but she hung out with Saul Alinsky, though.
She did?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
When
I thought it was a Barack Obama thing.
Barack is too young to have hung out with Saul Alinsky. She fell in love with one of her professors. Okay. You know, kind of like a Clinton thing.
Uh-huh.
And she was deeply infatuated by her professor.
You got to do what you got to do to get good grades.
Right.
So I don't fault her for that.
No, as a good law student, because apparently she doesn't know the law, so she was able to get through law school somehow.
She must know the law pretty well if you're going to break it as often as she does.
You got a good point. I might have to double think that.
Oh, I'm telling you.
So she had coffee with her professor, and her professor said, you know what? You look like you're really coming up the ranks pretty well.
Okay.
I've got somebody I want you to meet. So they went in the back room, and she sat down and met Saul Alinsky one-on-one.
Okay, all right. He's the guy that wrote Rules for Radicals, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Never let a good
crisis go to waste.
There you go. And so from that point on, she started to take his Rules for Radicals and hack her own way through it all. And in the meantime, she found an ingenious way. I mean, really, I as a bad person, you got to give her credit for being the worst of the worst. She was able to take their ideology, which was do it in violent revolution. She said, no, let's cheat our way, get into the government, filtrate the entire government with all our own people and all our own politics, become the president, and then you can change it. Her whole idea was change it from the inside. Saul Alinsky's whole idea was change it from the outside.
Well, really?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
the Weather Underground movement was all about changing the government from the outside with the bombings and the killings.
In Clinton's defense, that's how it's been done for the past 100 years. Is the way Clinton.
Well, I mean, that's what Hitler did. He did it from the inside.
The reason we've lost America, for those of you who've been listening to our show, we've lost America.
Yeah.
We've lost it to the communists.
Right.
But don't think that, we accidentally elected a communist, Obama, because most people that voted for him have not only not know that he's a communist, but that what communism is and that it has totally infiltrated America. But what they need to know, if they really want to be on the high information scale, is that Woodrow Wilson was our first communist president.
Correct.
And so
full blown. I mean, we had sympathizers before, but he was full blown.
I'm convinced now, based on my historical studies of America, that pretty much as soon as Karl Marx came out with the Communist Manifesto, that it was determined at that point going forward that we're just going to try our hardest to infiltrate American, and we're talking mid-1800s here. We're going to try to infiltrate America through the election process, lie, cheat, and steal, do whatever we need to do at any cost. The ends justify the means. We're going to turn America into a communist state through legal electoral means, and it led to the election of Woodrow. Don't think Woodrow Wilson came out of nowhere and became our first communist president just because he decided to run on that. I mean, that would have had to have been an infiltration decades in the making.
Right.
And all of it has led to what we have today in America, all the socialist programs.
And here is a prediction by Khrushchev.
Oh, yeah.
His prediction was, hold on, folks. Here we go. We will take America without firing a shot. We will bury you. We can't expect the American people to jump from capitalism to communism, but we can assist their elected leaders in giving them small doses of socialism until they wake up one day to find that they have communism.
Which is exactly what we have today.
We do not need to invade the United States. We will destroy you from within.
And that's exactly what's happening. Yeah.
This is a direct quote by the late Soviet premier, Nikita Khrushchev.
There's a very remote outside chance that we could save it. This is the only way we could save America from communism. If we somehow had enough anti-communist power in Washington and everywhere in all the right places, all at the same time, to not only completely repeal Obamacare, but to completely repeal the Social Security system and abolish the IRS and the Department of Education.
Right.
If we could do those four things, we could save America from communism. But if we can't do all four of those, I'm sorry, but I just don't have the confidence that we can save it. I just really don't. And some of you may be asking, what does the IRS have to do with it?
Oh.
IRS is the mechanism for the redistribution of wealth.
Right.
There's that. What about the Department of Education? That is the
mechanism to educate.
Re-education camps.
Right.
Or re-education would mean that you're capitalists and we're going to either murder you or make you brainwashed into communism.
It will change you.
But as a child, you can bring them up as communists. So it wouldn't be re-education camps. It would just be an education camp.
Right. They would send Carrie and I to a re-education camp.
Yeah.
To try and get us off the capitalist kick.
Right. And it would be just like the concentration camps. A lot of people don't realize this about World War II concentration camps. A lot of that was a combination of incarcerating those who don't buy into the fascism of Hitler.
Right.
But it was also, hey, while you're here, if we can reform your mind and get you right,
let us help you out.
You might have a path out of here. It's the same thing as the gulags and all that in North Korea?
Right.
People, political prisoners in North Korea. So all the same thing. So anyway, the Department of Education needs to be completely abolished, and the educational system needs to be a bottom-up thing.
When the IRS has their own SWAT team,
that's a problem.
And they do, by the way.
Yeah, that's a Glenn Beck revelation, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, he's the one that let everybody in on that. So I think those things, and Obamacare, basically what that is oh my gosh, that's a
it's something that Hitler said. Hitler said, if you want to take over a country and introduce this government of communism, dictatorship, whatever it is that you want to install, first thing you need to do is you need to take over the people's health care so that they are beholden 100% to the government for their health matters. Yeah, that was instituted by Hitler.
It's very nuanced how government health care is it's like the keystone. You know, the keystone in the arc.
Oh, yeah.
If you put it in there, the whole thing.
It's the last stone that goes in to hold both half arches of the arc up.
Right.
The middle piece. It's the keystone.
And the reason it's actually very subtle. It instills a sense of dependency on the government more so than anything else. I mean, the IRS does it because they send checks to people called earned income tax credits.
However, you didn't earn you didn't earn nothing.
Right, you didn't do anything to earn it. And what happens is if you grow up in that system, you think that without the government, you don't even get paid. You don't. I mean, you can laugh about it, but it's absolutely true. I mean, for those of you that can't imagine.
In Westwood.
No, people in Westwood, they're like, yeah, that is how we get our money.
How else would I get paid?
What? You're doing what with my money?
Yeah, man.
When you say, as a capitalist, we're getting rid of all this government program, big government, you're literally, you can translate that to the low informations as saying, we are taking your paycheck.
And when you have 51 to 52% of all Americans receiving some kind of government subsidy.
That's a big problem. Communism's here. It's as simple as that.
How do you, and just like Nikita Khrushchev said, we will introduce it. You can't get a capitalist to jump communist. However, you can get their politicians to start to lick the lollipop, if you will. Just lick it once. Ooh, that tastes good. Hey, do it again. Do it again. And you get them going down that road of socialism, all in the name of, we're here because we want to help you. We love you. We don't want to see anybody poor. War on poverty, we're going to get rid of it because we care. They have found out, the study, and the war on poverty has been the most expensive thing that any country in all of human nature has ever undertaken by America, to the tune
23 trillion?
Trillions of dollars. And as a percentage of the people, it is exactly what it was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years, whenever they started this
Poverty's a really tricky thing.
Identical to what it was 30 years ago.
Right, and the thing is everybody in America is way more wealthy than they were back then.
It's something else that they don't talk about either, is that everybody in their 20s is probably going to be poor in some sense of the measure.
Well, relatively speaking. And poverty is completely relative. And I'll give you an example.
Student loans qualify poverty as somebody who makes $48,000 a year and less.
Just a couple of years ago, that's a good amount of money. I mean, you're doing pretty well for yourself.
Yes.
No, but here's a good example. This is anecdotal, not really any proof of anything. But I guarantee you, if you were to take a time machine, load up somebody who would be considered poor back in the 70s or earlier, and bring them up and just shove them right into the poor areas of 2015,
right,
and say, this is where you're living. Sure, the buildings might look the same, but they would be like satellite TV, big screen TV on the wall.
Yeah.
What?
Cell phones everywhere.
The things that people that are considered in poverty today enjoy would be considered something that only the most wealthy people could have. Computers in the home, cell phones,
laptops, iPads, iPhones, everything.
Satellites sticking off the side of your tenement.
Right. The preacher a few months back, and I've been meaning to get this. They post all their sermons online. I've been meaning to get this little clip that he talked about, but he said, for everybody here living on the west side of Cincinnati, you want to be rich, you want to be wealthy, you want to be whatever, you want to be the top 1%, the top 2% earners. And it was a big, huge thing he went into. He said, you know what? When you compare the money that you make here on the west side, the average house, the average income, they said the average income is like $38,000 a year, something like that. That puts you at the top 1% richest people in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
In the world.
Some caller called into this financial show I was listening to.
They called in here.
Oh yeah, they called in here, and they said that, if you have any cash at all in your pocket at all, you are in the richest 1% in the world.
No!
And if you have loose change in your pocket, you're in the top 1% richest people in the world.
Wow.
But, I mean, that just goes to show you...
Think about it.
...how impoverished most people are in the world. Poverty is the state of man. And not poverty is an exception.
Right, because and communists love the word poverty. They love the poor. Well, they claim they love the poor, but they love to keep them poor. Because as long as you're poor and you don't raise yourself up, there's always a struggle and there's always a fight. And as long as that struggle is there and that fight is there to get better,
they're going to come out and say, we're your champion.
Right. Yet you take the Americans that are black Americans for the last 60 years that you've been voting Democrat, how much have they pulled you up and out of poverty? Look around. They're not doing nothing for you. Sorry, back up. They're doing one thing for you. They're keeping you poor. They're keeping you down.
Yeah, that check that they're sending you in Westwood.
Right. For you to realize
it's a joke.
Right. And the amount of personal satisfaction that you receive from making your own way in life, making your own money, finding out how hard work is extremely satisfying. Once you realize that world, you'll have the paradigm shift and say, "Oh, wow."
You know what? Everybody who has a dog anywhere in the world knows this. When you're at the dinner table eating dinner, they'll run right underneath the table, and hopefully one of the kids will start throwing the scraps down there. Sure. And they sit there and beg. They do their own little begging. They're real quiet.
And even if it's broccoli or something, like tomatoes, whatever the kids don't want to eat, they'll start
sticking their tongue out and licking on your hand or whatever and trying to get you to send them down some scraps. And usually the kids will do it, and the parents might yell at the kids if they catch them.
Right.
You're that dog under the table.
Begging for scraps.
If you are happy, you're a person who's happy about the check they're receiving from the government.
Maybe not even happy. Just call it content. Not even looking for better.
Hold on. Let me define happy. Meaning that you are going to fight tooth and nail anybody who tries to take that government away from you.
Oh, yeah.
That's not only are you happy, but you have a love for that government.
Right.
There's
a loyalty. There's a connection there.
There's a loyalty, a love, and you are that dog. And the government is your master who puts the food on the table, but guess what? That food on the table ain't for you.
Right.
That little check you got, that's not the food from the table. That's the scraps.
That's left.
They get the food from the table.
And they did a study on this too. They found out that every single dollar spent on welfare, whether it be food stamps or the cash monetary value that you get. Some people get cash and they get food stamps. Now it's on a credit card, so they don't have to be embarrassed. They can go to the store and swipe it like a regular credit card.
They need to shame these people.
They need to go back to the monopoly money, the funny money.
Yep.
That's what they called it. They called it funny money.
It's called food stamps because it was actually stamps in a stamp book.
Right.
And you had to kind of pull them apart. Rip the little stamps apart. And when we were kids,
well, you had to leave it. You couldn't pull it out of the book. You had to present the book to the cashier so she could see that it was from this book, those numbers matched, and they were for you.
Yeah, and when we were kids, and I went to a school where there were some poor people, and I don't know if I would consider myself poor or in poverty, but really close, and I definitely went to a poor school, and there were some really poor kids there. You had to keep it an absolute secret.
It was an embarrassment.
It was so embarrassing, and you could be the source of a lot of ridicule from friends, and if they found out that you and your mama went to the grocery store and had to use food stamps, it was completely embarrassing. And here's the thing: some of you are like, yeah, that's wrong. You shouldn't be shamed. No, let me tell you something. If you are in a situation where other people have to work to provide you for your food, which is exactly what it is. That's right. What welfare, redistribution of wealth, all that. They have to work to provide you with your ability to live and eat, have a meal every 3 times a day or whatever. You should be a little bit embarrassed by that.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
You don't have a right to that.
There was one year in grade school where we qualified for free lunch, and my mom got it all set up. And you knew who got the free lunch because they didn't pay at the end. They had a little card. They just showed it to the cashier.
We did know who the free lunches were.
And so we qualified for it, and I didn't eat lunch. I went without lunch.
I think I remember thinking, I don't think I ever got free lunch, but I do remember all the people that got free lunch, and I didn't necessarily think poorly of them, but I guarantee you that some of them were a little bit embarrassed.
And Michelle Obama would say, "Oh my goodness, Brian Smith was poor and he needed a handout, and he went without food.
He was starving."
Well, folks, I've gone without food a lot of times, and I'm here to let you know it can be done. And after about the second or third day, you really don't feel hunger pains anymore.
We used to have bag lunches, and I would notoriously just leave it at home on accident. I just forgot to take it with me.
Yeah.
And I'd show up, and of course I didn't have my $1 or whatever to pay for a hot lunch, and I didn't have my bag for packed lunch. And man, we had teachers in there that were, when they found out I didn't have any food, they were livid. They offered to, they wanted to send a nasty gram home to my parents.
See, this kind of goes in line with some of the things we've talked about in the past, like the experiment the Germans did with children wards of the state to make the perfect race by keeping them absolutely in an isolated, clean room.
I know it was some sort of an experiment.
I believe it was Germans that did this.
I learned about it in psychology class in college.
They talked about it in class, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember. I just assumed it was in America.
No, it wasn't America. No,
but the intention was...
it was Germans trying to make the perfect race.
It wasn't the perfect race. They were trying to raise... the theory was that children were always going to be less than perfect because every time they caught a disease, whether it was just a cold, flu, or any kind of sickness, was going to damage them.
Right. So my point,
and kids who never got sick were stronger, healthier. They were they just became better developed and all that. So they thought, well, hey, what if we can raise a whole group of kids in a completely sterile environment?
Right. Then
all these kids, all these lucky kids who got selected for this experiment, would be great. They would be strong. They would have great immune systems. They would be strong. They'd be really smart because their brains would not have had to battle off all those diseases and all that stuff. And so of course, I'm sure there were parents that were like, "Yeah, you can sign my kid up."
They were originally wards of the state. They were orphans that the state controlled. Right.
Okay.
So
that makes sense because parents were kind of weird about that.
Within weeks of this thing, months of this thing, all of a sudden they started to have major problems.
Kids were dying from all kinds of
sicknesses. So they had to abandon the entire program. But my whole connection, though, to these teachers that are like, "Oh my God, the kids got to have food," is likened to these people saying, we can't allow them to be in a bad environment. They've got to be perfect. My whole point is, you have to have adversity.
So poor people
are
in America are the kids that were dying in that experiment.
Yes, because what you're literally doing is not allowing them to experience the most extreme uncomfortableness. Like Benjamin Franklin said, to cure poverty, make it extremely uncomfortable to live in it. And you will literally remove people from poverty because nobody wants to be in an extremely uncomfortable environment. Anthony Robbins talks about this. People move away from pain and they move towards pleasure. Just naturally. It's an instinctive thing. You'll move away from pain. If pain is being poor, you will naturally move away from it. You'll find a way to get out of it. If the government makes it extremely easy for you to sidestep some of the pain, you'll naturally do that. And they bank on human beings to take the bait, if you will. They bank on the fact that poor people will do whatever they can to get out of it And here, let's make it easy. Why would you have to advertise food stamps? Why would you have to advertise welfare?
That's
Why do you have
crazy,
to
isn't it? I don't think people know that. I don't think people know that the government advertises to...
Why do you have to advertise Obamacare? Why do you advertise it? Why?
Log on to gov.gov or whatever.
If it worked, and it was a viral video that was worthy of going viral because it was good, you don't need to tell nobody about it.
And that's the essence of capitalism right there, is that if it's good, it's going to go viral, and if it's bad, here's the key. Up until just a couple years ago, the problem with capitalism was the snake oil salesman that went from city to city and ripping people off. These days, with Angie's List and all that other stuff, you can't get away with that.
No,
you're going to be talked about on Yelp and all that other stuff, and you're not going to get business, and your business will end up dying out, and rightfully so.
Capitalism has governed itself.
There you go.
Capitalism has come full circle to govern itself.
Right.
And the government don't like that.
And by the way,
that's why they get involved.
The abuses that communists will tell you that big businesses, big fat cats do to workers. Hey, because of the fact that that is a remote possibility, I'm okay with unions in private businesses. There's no problem with that. No problem with that at all. I do think that...
I don't think it should be mandatory. People should be able to vote on it.
Yeah, right. I think it should be able to be voted on, and I also believe that if a company is subject to that, let's say they have collective bargaining, a union, that all their workers are under, I think that if the only way to save their business is to either tell them, look, these concessions you have to make, and if you don't make them, then we're getting rid of you.
Right.
I think that it takes strong leadership, and they should do that.
Absolutely.
I think they should be able to say, well, look, you guys collectively bargain for all of your employment, all of your pay, we're going to also collectively fire you.
All of you.
Every one of you.
Right.
Because we can't just fire a couple of you. You're not letting us.
Right.
So we're going to get rid of all of you. We're going to bring in... And they have the right to pick it after that if they want.
Companies in America can and have walked up to the government and all the employees and tell them, we are shutting this company down. It's no longer XYZ widgets, and we're closing the doors forever. However...
Didn't that happen with Little Debbie or something?
Well, yeah.
Hostess
did that, but here's the secret to that. XYZ widgets tells all the employees, we're taking a week off, and in 1 week, we will reopen as ABC widgets. And if you want your job, you be here Monday morning. Non-union.
And, it's amazing how few of them cross the picket line. I mean, there's a lot of...
You could shut the company down, dissolve the corporation, file bankruptcy, walk away, reopen, new name, new chapter, no union, and say, hey, folks, if you want your job, come get it. You can do whatever you want. It's the freedom to do that.
Right, and the thing that makes this work, for those of you in Westwood just crawling out of your skin right now listening to us talk about this, is that at any time, any one individual worker not only can, but should be putting their resume out everywhere. And by the way, I wouldn't recommend printing your resume on a company printer.
The company letterhead?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of times it's a remote printer, and you'll forget about it. Yeah. It's a you print it. It's it's a whole different building away. Whose resume is this? Holding it up in the air. Oh, woo! Yeah, I would not recommend that.
Yikes.
So, anyway, yeah, that's our spiel on capitalism versus social. It's amazing with the internet these days how it actually works in capitalism's favor.
Gawker?
Yeah.
Online media, Gawker.
Mm-hmm.
The first online media organization to go union.
Really?
They voted for it. It's the first. The people who work for Gawker. It's the first online media Gawker union organization. Yeah.
Wow. That's so. Do they have a place where these union workers show up to work, like a place where they do programming, like an office or something?
I have no idea. It says the vote is also arguably good news for Gawker, founder, and everyone knew he was going to disappear a week before he. What? Okay, so the founder of Gawker is happy about it too.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
You want to get back to high school students again?
Yep.
Or is it middle school? Oh, middle schoolers. Okay. So
these are young kids. Middle schoolers?
Yeah. I mean, but they're getting to the age where they're going to have a strong opinion.
12, 13, 14, 15. Right there.
Roughly in that
10
area,
years old, you're in the 5th grade. 11, you're in 6th grade. So 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Right
I was 12 in 6th grade, but I was also 12 when I was in 7th grade. So I was in that.
Oh, you're that November baby.
Yeah. So controversy erupts after students forced to remove shirts with, quote, positive
Did you send this to
message.
me? Did you send this to me?
So apparently these students wanted to show their support of maybe a fellow student.
Yeah, they did, because the fellow student was being picked on.
Probably.
Well, that's what the article said he was being picked on.
And I don't dispute that. He may have been picked on. So they all wore shirts that said gay okay in big block letters on their shirt. Well, the thing is that most schools have a dress code. Like you can't. I'll never forget. One of my buddies got kicked out of West High.
Ooh.
For the day, just for the day.
Oh, okay. Because it's illegal to expel students nowadays. You know that, right?
Probably. But this was back in the 90s.
Well, you could do it then, but you can't do it.
He had the F bomb shirt on, but it was spelled out. The letters were 12 inches high.
It was a 72 font.
It was it was like 190 font. It was a black T-shirt with white block letters. They were like 12 inches high. The all 4 letters it's on there. No asterisk or anything. Oh, wow. And we were all like, ha ha ha. And of course, I don't think he lasted past first bell. And he may have been asked to turn it inside out. I don't know. But so even West High of all schools has a dress code. I mean, you can't show up in your underwear.
Right, and even Oak Hills, which was a more affluent school I went to,
they may have been back then.
They would allow you to pretty much wear whatever you wanted to wear, but it couldn't be profanity, and it couldn't be something that was like some of the shirts you see nowadays incite violence.
Right. Well, this school officials deemed the T-shirts to be a violation of the school dress code, which prohibits disruptive or distractive clothes.
And I agree with that 100%.
Okay, so if they deem that it's distracting or disruptive, then they must be either have something else to wear or be sent home.
Right, or wait for the parent to show up or something. But if a teacher calls the principal and say, hey, man, this kid's wearing this clothing, and everybody in the classroom won't stop talking about it. I mean, the teachers are there to verify the disruption. There's no question about it.
Turns out these kids lasted all the way until lunch in the cafeteria. The reports coming from the kids were that nobody was even talking about it, and the teachers were kind of starting
said they wanted to exercise their First Amendment rights.
Well, right. That was the argument. The argument is, should the kids be told to do this? Isn't it a violation of their First Amendment rights? That's the big question.
So hold on. Did we even tell the listening audience what the T-shirts say?
Yeah, gay okay.
Oh, gay okay.
Gay okay.
Because apparently a gay friend in the school, which I don't know how you know if you're gay or not, and you're only.
Well, no, he told everybody. Which is, yeah.
And so he was getting beat up, picked on.
I want to ask everybody,
harassed.
every single non-gay person listening now, and you could answer if you want, since I don't think you're gay, Brian. But that's the key. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm 100% sure about you.
Okay.
I'm 100% sure.
But no, the key. Okay, so there's a point behind this. The point is that I don't know if Brian has ever come out and said, "Hey guys, I got an announcement to make.
Just want to let everybody know."
Just in case you didn't know, which I don't think you know because I've never said this, and you guys are all going to be the first to hear this.
Right. Running for president, I am.
No, not that.
Oh.
Now, I want you guys all to hear this because it's important. I need to get this off my chest.
I'm moving out of Westwood.
No, not that.
Okay.
Which you actually did move out of Westwood.
Yeah, I did.
No, but I just want everybody to know that I am heterosexual.
Whoa!
Yes, breaking news.
Is that racist?
Whoa!
So that's interesting. So why is it that a gay person finds it absolutely not only necessary to eventually come out, but like something's missing out of their life if they don't? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I can't think of one friend that I've ever had come out to me as heterosexual. I mean, it becomes obvious after a while.
Well,
think about all the in-the-closet heterosexuals out there.
Yeah, there are massive amounts of closet heterosexuals that can't find the strength within themselves to let everybody know.
Now, and here's the thing. Most heterosexuals make it pretty obvious when they end up going out with a girl and even eventually sometimes marrying a girl.
Could be a front. It could be a front like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has got his front. John Travolta, he's got his front.
We're talking about Scientology, or are we talking about...
Yeah.
Okay.
The school of thought where you cover up your tracks to get as much money as you can get.
Okay. All right. So, no, but is that not true? I mean, how many people have come out of the closet being heterosexual?
Dude, I'm coming out. I'm coming out right now.
Oh man, this is breaking
news. And I don't
news.
know.
This is going to have Twitter ablaze.
I thought I was 100% sure about you, but now that you lay it out like this, I've got doubt because you've never come out.
I've never come out. Well, I just did now.
So you're making an official coming out.
I'm going to come out, and I know Brian, you just came out.
I'm coming out of the closet. I am officially coming out as an absolute heterosexual.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to follow suit and say I am coming out of the closet too.
Whew, I feel like this is
a huge weight.
I'm getting choked.
Okay, I want to say it. I'm just going to verbalize it now. I am actually heterosexual.
Oh my goodness. This is an Oprah.
You don't have to cry.
This is an Oprah moment.
Think about how many of your friends have come out heterosexual.
We should have a coming out party.
We should. That would be interesting.
Post it We are having a party. It'll be our third annual.
Is it third?
Breaking summer party, if you will. It happens on the weekend of my birthday, but we just blow it out like a summer bash.
Mm-hmm.
I think this will be three
the
or
epic
four.
Slip
Is this
and
three?
slide.
This is three. This will be three. The epic. Speaking about that epic slip and slide.
Yeah.
A friend of mine from church has she writes a blog about products.
Okay.
And this slip and slide company said, "We've got this new product. We'll give you one for free if you write about it. Write a review."
Yeah.
It's a 6 foot tall, giant, inflatable slide.
Okay.
It's huge, 6 foot tall.
That's a good idea. Because I was thinking, if we do the kind of slip and slide we really want to do, because you have a completely flat backyard, we're talking about building a half pipe.
Yes.
For the most part.
Absolutely.
But I didn't think about inflatable because that would really...
I've been entertaining some ideas. So anyways,
all right,
we are now out of the closet. We may rename the party, look for the future,
the heterosexual...
Coming out heterosexual party.
Coming out of the closet party.
And gays are allowed to attend to help us celebrate.
Well, you know what?
Because we would celebrate you.
It's okay to be hetero.
It's okay.
It's okay. And I think you should all wear T-shirts. Every gay person listening now, and if you're not gay, you should put this on your Facebook page.
Right.
That anybody that you know is gay, copy, paste, reshare it, whatever. That you should all support our heterosexuality by wearing a T-shirt, even to your middle school.
Yep.
that says hetero okay.
Hetero okay. And if anyone out there listening now knows anyone connected to Vanity Fair, please get them in contact with us, because we will do a photo op and an interview about coming out.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, this week Vanity Fair had
I did not know that.
had a spread on
Coming out?
Katarina.
Oh, Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Katarina.
I don't
Ka-
know.
I was thinking of cataracts. What is
She-
the spelling of this name? Did he jack the name up? CAITHLYN.
Well, they were talking on the radio the other day that because of the names of all of his children starting with K's, he really blew it by not calling himself Caitlyn with a K, because it just doesn't look like it belongs.
It's moronic. Anyways.
Oh, I thought you were ironic.
Moronic. Yes.
The same difference.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Apparently, Brucey Boy, who no longer is Brucey or
By the way,
boy.
the same radio station said he should have changed his name to Jennifer Bruce.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Wow, that's perfect.
Yeah. I'm not going to take credit for it. It was some DJ on the radio I was listening to.
Okay.
But anyway.
She, Caitlyn, did a...
It's not did you hear about Nancy Grace? Dude, she uncovered. She uncovered Bruce Jenner. Big time. I don't know.
Nancy Grace.
She's
really?
the crazy
I know
Nazi
she,
on
yeah.
Headline News.
No, I definitely know, but what would she say bad about him?
She was interviewing his PR journalist guy, whatever,
Okay.
and she said, so how far has he gone with this? Has he chopped the junk?
Chopped a dick of me.
Well, he tried to avoid the question and said, he did tell me that it was going to be the last thing that he does in his transformation. I haven't heard anything other than whatever, so I'm assuming maybe not yet. And she got livid. She said, this is all a show, isn't it?
Oh.
Which, by the way, she did not break that theory. That was actually Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
Rush Limbaugh broke the theory this early in the week that this could actually be just a huge publicity stunt.
For what, though?
Oh, he's doing a show. He's doing a reality show on TMZ or LZ or whatever.
TMZ?
TLC or whatever.
LTLC.
And it's called, I don't know.
The Loving Channel. TLC. The Loving Channel.
It used to be called the Learning Channel until a bunch of women took it over. It used to be like a combination of History Channel and Discovery Channel. It had some great shows on it. And then all of a sudden it went straight, like there was nothing. Okay, if you think of something called the Learning Channel, you would think about learning stuff and being smarter after watching it. This channel will make you dumber for every minute that you're listening to it or watch it. And so for it to be called the Learning Channel is the height of irony and hypocrisy, because it's ridiculous. It used to be called the Learning Channel.
There's a...
now, they don't even call it the Learning Channel anymore. They just call it TLC.
The Family Channel.
Yeah.
My children were... This is before... This was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I got rid of cable altogether.
Oh, my goodness.
It was the middle of the afternoon. They were watching a kids show.
Oh, you're not getting the Red Zone anymore?
Nope.
Well, good
None
for
of
you.
it.
Good for you.
I can't do it.
I'm
especially
done
after
with it, too.
Well, all the pornography that is on the channels all the time.
I didn't
Kids
believe
can flip
you.
around.
Yeah, I didn't believe that you were doing that, or that it was there. Brian told me.
I've
Brian
got girls, and it really. I mean,
Brian said that his daughters were flipping through the guide, which tells you what's on each channel.
Right.
Well, they're flipping through.
Some of them
explicit descriptions of porn was in the guide.
Right, and if you click on it, it won't allow you to watch it.
Right.
However,
which is good. That's their family filter, right?
However, you can read the complete description about young, old girl, boy, mom, dad. I mean, really creepy stuff You can read the complete description, and there's an icon. Picture. Icon.
And so your daughter, who at the time was just starting to learn how to read, was able to read this stuff.
5 and 6, and she was reading at 6 very well. And I said, "Whoa, what is happening?" So, Family Channel, middle of the afternoon, they're watching their show, and then it cuts to commercial, and it airs a series that's coming on later that evening that's just beginning, called Transformations.
Okay.
It's about a loving father and a loving mother with a loving family.
Mm-hmm.
However, the father loves himself more than everybody else, and is going to proceed with the Jenner 2.0 transformation.
Okay. So it'll be a mom and a mom.
And so he's talking to his teenage son about this, and his daughters about this. And then all of a sudden it shows him in full drag, coming out to the family. They embrace him and say, "It's okay. We're with you, Dad." I had to shut it down immediately.
How are you so insensitive? How dare you judge
There's
them?
the TV show about parents divorcing and how horrible that is to the children.
I know that, like, Duck Dynasty is very family values oriented.
I want them to come out with a TV show about this destructiveness of divorce on children.
I think that the general thing that Hollyweird or whoever's making all these shows, no matter which one you look at, they all want to end the same way, whether it's true or not. They always end it with the narrative that there's a happy ending. So with the Jenner thing is, he has this mental disorder where he is a woman trapped in a man's body. We're going to have a happy ending because now we're going to show him transforming into what he really truly is, which is a woman.
Right.
And so that's the happy ending. And then you got Duck Dynasty where it's always a happy ending. So no matter what it is, I would think that you would never be able to convince somebody to create a show where the ending is a tragedy. They just don't make them. They don't make tragedies for shows.
Well, the media has, and I know this is jumping a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to talk much about this at all, but the whole Duggar thing.
Oh yeah, I do want to talk about that. But
they've drugged that up and destroyed that.
Everybody's scared to talk about that, and
It happened years before their show. The show's called 19 and Counting.
But here's the thing: the statute of limitation doesn't. There is no statute of limitation on public, the public
information.
No, the public's eye. If the public wants to judge you poorly for actions that you did a long time ago that would well exceed the statute of limitation for legal action, they have the right to do that, and I have no problem with that. Here's where I do have a problem. Sure, the guy's an adult now, and if he were to do what he did back then, that would be extremely creepy, extremely illegal, and probably require him to be in prison for a long time. But he was like this
14,
really young. I mean, people who are kids who are coming up and they go from childhood to adolescence and just, I mean, you gotta give. I mean, there's a reason why we don't charge children for capital crimes or send them to prison for almost anything.
Right. It's difficult to charge a child, a minor, with as an adult. It's difficult to do that unless certain criteria are met, depending on the state that you're in.
Yeah, and so the way I look at it is this: if there's any, I would say they should watch him like a hawk, even into adulthood. And if anything were to come up that looked like evidence of him going back to doing that stuff, i.e., not learning his lesson from his childhood, that doing that is bad, and that you shouldn't ever do that, and that you should ask for forgiveness and all this stuff, and that you don't understand the extreme consequences of behaving that way.
Right. Well, they've discussed it amongst themselves in their family. This happened years before the TV show. apparently these records were sealed, and
rightfully so. The kid was a child.
However, some a Daily Mail, some tabloid filed a Freedom of Information Act,
which right there I think you should be able to sue whatever government official did that. The freedom, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a Freedom of Information Act expert, but I'm going to tell you this right now.
There's no freedom of information on rape cases.
Well,
or molestation or children, minors.
The whole point of the Freedom of Information Act, the whole point of it initially, and to this day should still be, to prevent government officials from hiding stuff that they shouldn't be allowed to hide from you. Unless it's a top secret situation like a CIA.
You mean like Obama's trade deal?
Well, that's a whole different story.
Top secret. Can't
I don't think that a law should ever be top secret. Period.
No, and apparently his trade deal will and may supersede all laws.
What Obama does when he talks to leaders of other countries should be allowed to be completely secret and be classified all at once. I'm cool with that. A law that governs what he can and can't do, especially the people, obviously should be always and forever completely out in the open for everybody to see.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to the Duggar thing, Freedom of Information Act is supposed to be to allow journalists to expose public officials and politicians on things that could be deemed immoral, illegal, and all that stuff. It should never be used against private citizens, especially against children.
Right.
So whoever allowed that and said, oh my gosh, these journalists are filing for a Freedom of Information Act. We better release all of these documents about a rape case of involving children. Hello? Somebody needs to go to prison for that.
Right.
Whoever was the person and that's it. There's no accountability in public life for anybody. It all gets... I want a Freedom of Information Act that allows me to expose the name of the official that allowed the names and detailed information about a case that involves children out. Private children. These are not public officials.
Right. And I believe that this was done on purpose to bring down this family that claims and practices Christianity.
That's exactly what it is. There is unquestionably exactly the motive behind this.
I've got... Megyn Kelly did an interview with the two of the sisters
that were the victims.
These two sisters were victims.
They're in their 20s now.
Jill and Jessa. However, there was also a babysitter.
Oh, babysitter was involved.
And there was also a couple other
And I'm assuming
siblings.
The babysitter may not have been 18, but she was probably older, obviously, than the sisters.
Right. Well, if she was babysitting.
Right. She would have had to have been
probably
older,
15-ish.
You don't know. I mean, she could have been.
Right.
She could have been 19. Who knows? I mean, depends on who they hired.
So babysitter and then a handful of siblings. You got to remember, there's 19 kids in this whole house. I don't know how. Well, 19. Yeah, 19. I don't know how you keep civility in a place like that. I can barely do it with 3 kids. Anyway.
Yeah, the story I heard was 3 gets out of control, 4 is total anarchy.
Right.
So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So each one of those would add another level of chaos beyond 4.
Now, would it be like exponentially getting...
No. Actually, it would be not exponentially, but the opposite. It would start to level off. Like, I'll give you an example. This is the best way to describe it verbally. If you have a level of chaos at 17, the level that it would go up at 18 relative to 17 would be just minuscule.
Okay,
and then 19 would be even more minuscule.
Okay, so...
If they have a 20th one, it's not going to be a straw that broke the camel's back.
Okay, so where is that middle ground where the curvature starts to go down?
You mean it gets easier?
You're saying it levels off. It never goes down.
No. In fact, it would. I think there is a way that it would go down. The way it would go down is if the oldest children are old enough to take part in the care of the younger children.
They actually do on this show.
Which they should.
Talk about it, yeah.
I mean, there should be at least 18 months between kids. Let's say there's only 1 year between kids. Let's just say, on average. There may be some twins and triplets in there. Who knows?
Man, that's... Your one child is 38, and you're having a newborn.
Well, let's just say there's only a year in between them. That would mean that the oldest one is 19 years older than the youngest.
Right. So you're 19 and your mom's having a new baby.
So you don't have... That child could be gone. Moved out.
Right.
So you don't have all 19 living there. But
right.
Do they in this show?
Yes.
Why would you have 38-year-old living with you?
Well, they...
because that's the day and age.
They've gotten married. There's some that have moved on but live nearby. I don't know. I don't really watch the show. But Megyn Kelly had these two girls on, and... Apparently this clip, I'll play a little bit of the clip.
Is it a long clip?
Yeah.
I read the transcript.
Okay. So let me just play a little bit of the clip and let's see where we're at with this.
Yeah, and so like, you know, people expecting to know every detail of our lives when this happens long ago,
before the
taken
TV show
care of.
about.
So we're not going to say, you know, hi, nice to meet you. Here's everything that's ever gone on.
Of course.
You know, so
right. So, and when you found out this was going to be on the cover of In Touch Weekly, what was your reaction?
I'll tell you, we were pretty furious.
I called my husband
not happy.
and I was in tears. I couldn't believe what was going on. I called him. It was whenever I heard the police report had been released that I said, what? Like, they don't have a right to do this. This isn't... We're victims. They can't do this to us.
And yet they did.
They did.
So I left that in there on purpose, folks, because I wanted you to hear how this media is literally destroying their lives over again. They go on in the interview and they talk about that.
I think that
they say that we've forgiven our brother.
Yeah.
We've dealt with this as a family. We've moved on. And she said it's more painful now because we're reliving it a second time after we had already moved on from it.
This is probably worse than the first time because the story I read was, and part of this interview, was that they didn't know anything happened to him until he confessed to the parents. Then the parents went and told the girls what happened because they were asleep.
Right.
And they never woke up. They had no idea. So put yourself in the shoes of somebody who, I don't know, maybe you were molested or whatever, where you had no idea it happened. Kind of like that girl that got raped at the beach spring break thing.
Oh.
Gang raped.
Yeah.
She didn't know until the video came out.
Dude, that's criminal.
Well, so obviously those people have got to go to prison for a long time. But anyway, and I don't know if they will or not, but they certainly should. But no, so put yourself in the shoes. You were touched or whatever while you're sleeping, had no idea. Then your mom and dad comes up and say, "Hey, what's the kid's name? Josh or something?
Yeah.
Josh, you know, he's a bad boy, and you know, he did this." And of course, then the girls are probably like, "He did."
Right.
The parents are probably surprised too. Like,
right.
wait a minute, you didn't know? Oh, I had no idea. Whatever.
I was having a dream.
So they were probably like, the only victimization that they realized was that they were told that they were a victim.
Right.
Like, hey, by the way, you don't know this, but yeah, you were victimized. I guarantee you it wasn't as devastating as what just happened here in this audio.
No, and she's saying now that the devastation comes because, I mean, well, you heard how can they let this out? And then they go on to talk about the Freedom of Information Act and how that doesn't apply to this in any shape or form or fashion. They talk about God, their faith, and how they've moved on as a family. And Megyn Kelly asked her, said, well, what about the babysitter? She said, oh, no, the babysitter forgave him. We've moved on.
Yeah, imagine a 14-year-old kid who is a little confused and acting out. You know, the hormones are just, for the first time in his life, starting to rage out.
Well, we've talked about this, too, as a boy. At 14?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
They don't never go down.
It
is so uncomfortable to walk every day.
Oh, yeah.
All day.
I'm gonna be the first to admit that there were times where I'm at school and the bell rings and I can't
get
go.
Up. No, I can't.
I mean, I could.
Right.
I could.
But you would make a spectacle of yourself.
I mean, the backpack was my friend.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. So, obviously,
that goes on your back, Carrie. And no, it's okay. I'm going to carry it right here. It's fine.
We're all putting it on our back.
No. I'm starting a new trend.
What are you, a nerd?
No,
you got to hold it right in front of yourself? What are you doing?
Okay. Let me put it on my back.
How come you're not letting it hang down and swing? Why are you holding it up like a girl?
Okay. You want to see? Here's why.
So anyway, and I'm definitely not condoning his behavior.
No.
If I had a son that ended up doing that, I honestly, the way his parents handled it is about exactly the way I think is the very best way. You got to tell him about what he's doing.
Apparently they report. I don't know if I'd report this to the police though.
I don't think they did.
Yes.
They? Oh, did they?
There was a police report.
Okay.
And everything.
Well,
and it may have been the babysitter may have been involved in that though.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. So the babysitter wasn't sleeping. She found out. Her parents found out. There's a discussion between both families. Police reports filed. Things are kind of take a life of their own.
Okay. So it seems to me like the parents. This is my conclusion on it. The fact that after Josh confessed and apologized, received acceptance of apologies, whatever his punishment was, he did. I'm sure the parents probably punished him somehow.
Right.
The fact that he never has been alleged to have done this since then tells me that the exact right thing was done by the parents. And every adult involved in this, all the right things were done.
So what did she say? What was the name of the newspaper?
Oh, In Touch magazine? Come on!
Is that even real?
In Touch magazine. I thought it was a joke.
So she goes,
that's like an Onion article, right?
Well, she goes on towards the end of this interview to say that the people who own In Touch magazine, are also huge into the porn industry.
This is what.
And so she accuses them and says the girl Jessa says this guy, the owner, who's clearly abused women or okay with the women being abused and sexualized, apparently he sees this story and finds that that's okay as well because he's abusing us. And
the In Touch people.
She's accusing the In Touch people of, that's just par for the course.
Right.
Well,
let me tell you this.
Women victims all over again.
I will tell you this. Based on what I heard from those girls, or that one girl crying, and how she even said she reached out and tried to get him to stop and asked why they would release that.
Right.
Two people. Whoever's jobs it is, actually more than two, whoever's involved in the making of this article, and the person or people involved in the decision to release the police report of minors involved in this activity, all have a special warm place in hell for them when they die. It's that simple.
Good.
Because this is so morally repugnant to go down this road. It's just the moral bankruptcy. I mean, flat out, they're going to hell.
Yeah.
They're going to hell. It's as simple as that. How could you say, you know what? Hey, let's do it, man! Let's do it!
Let's pull the trigger, bro. Look what we got!
We got 9-year-olds and... I mean, what the hell?
We're in! It is breaking
my
news!
God. Very special, especially warm place now.
We're going to break this
and
like Brokeback Mountain. We're going to break this for real. Well, they're in the adult entertainment industry.
Well, that's not adult. That's not adult.
I know, but
apparently they're in the child porn
industry. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're slipping down that slippery slope.
Yep.
So, before we get too far, I mean, we're about ready to wrap this up. We got 30 minutes left. I want to hit
lightning round.
I want to hit two major things real quick. I want to hit this SWAT team raids across the country have becoming an epidemic.
Is it the IRS again? Or no, the
local SWAT teams, local police departments using SWAT teams. In Missouri this past week, resident Angela filed a federal lawsuit against the St. Louis County Police Tactics officers, the department's SWAT team, over a raid upon her house back in April, where police shot and killed her 4-year-old pit bull.
Oh, because
Kia.
Because the pit bull was trying to defend the house?
The reason for the raid was to verify if her home had electricity and natural gas service. A city ordinance requires that every home carry utility services. Seems that Angela failed to pay her gas bill.
And left it without gas for a long time. Long enough for them to raid it?
Right. Okay, next one. This went down in Denver, Colorado. And I have an audio clip of this that will shake you to your core, because you really need to wake up that these things are happening. You got to know your rights.
State. We live in a police state. Yes. It's a communist police state.
Know your rights. So a 20-hour standoff with the SWAT team to apprehend Robert Jonathan Seacat. This local shoplifter was trying to hide from cops, so he ran to somebody's house and bunker down in this guy's home.
Okay.
For 20 hours.
Was anybody home?
Not when he broke in.
Okay.
So they picked Lech's house, or Lech, I think his name's Lech, L-E-C-H, took his house, who he was renting it out to his son and his family, forced his way in to elude the police officers. Here's the sound clip of Lech being interviewed, and I just took out the interviewer's words because that's unnecessary.
If you go online, look at the Osama bin Laden compound, I would say this may even look a little worse. This is an abomination. This is an atrocity. This was a bathroom. This was a master bedroom. This was a kitchen. You have a whole life worth of memories in there. Okay? And that's all gone.
They drove their tank right through all of our fences here.
Wow.
Like that was all knocked down.
A tank. And this is for one gunman. This is paramilitary force, okay? In any civilized nation, okay? This is the act of paramilitary thugs, is what this is. This is for one gunman. Fire some tear gas through the windows. If that didn't work, you have 50 SWAT officers with body armor break down the door, and you have $10,000 of damage maybe versus $250,000.
Now, Lex says he's waiting for a call from the city about who's responsible for what costs. I also talked to the Greenwood Village police chief. He was outside that house today. He wouldn't do an interview, and he would only say, quote, "We did what we needed to do to protect human life."
What? $250,000 in damage. You see this house, it is no joke, bro. It is no joke. It is worse than a tornado.
Did the tank drive through it?
They took battering rams to the second floor. Like they had a special machine.
Why would they do that?
And they knocked every wall out of the second floor all the way around.
Why would they do that?
They're looking for the gunman.
Why don't they just go inside?
They were saving lives.
Well, who's going to pay for the house?
Who knows? They don't know.
What?
His insurance company said, "We will cover this." However, who's going to reimburse the insurance company?
I have no idea. Well, I mean, the insurance company, if it's something that they cover, it pays for itself. Because they take premiums.
Your premiums are going to go up because you fought $250,000 in damage.
That could cause everybody's premiums to go up.
You could see inside every single room, all the way around the house.
And are you suggesting that they did this because they were too cowardly to go in and send police in?
I have no idea.
So they were like, whoa. You send me in there, I might get shot. Well, what are we going to do? Well, let's go through each room from the outside.
Well, using
a crane.
The officer says, well, you heard about Nancy, the admissions officer? She was able to strike a deal with the government. Hey, call the Sarge. See if he's got that new equipment in yet.
Oh, they wanted to play with their new toys.
Got the new equipment in.
The new equipment from the military.
From the government.
Oh, no. Oh, it makes sense now.
These pictures. See, I've been hearing different stories about things coming up like this, and I've been really skeptical. However, this was on a local Fox affiliate channel, and it was a local news report. You heard the news lady at the end. I left that in on purpose because she said her little bit about what the cop said, the sheriff, or the head, the sergeant said, we did what we had to do to save lives.
How did they save his life? Did the guy live?
Yeah.
Well, was he like, no more, don't take anything? I mean,
there's no more houses left. There's no more walls left.
Could you imagine being in, I mean, I didn't see the picture of the house.
They took this tank and they ran over the neighbors' fences to get in. Like the lawns of the neighbors' lawns.
What movie was that where they were overdoing everything? I can't think of it. But
here's the picture of the house. Look.
Yeah, it looks like they gouged huge holes all over the
door-size holes all the way around.
No,
the
bigger
house.
than door. That's car size.
Like double doors.
Like they put a garage in every
room.
In the second floor.
Right. All the way around. And this is the back of the house. The front of the house is even worse.
Wow.
Yeah, here's the front of the house. They ripped the whole fascia of the front of the house.
Why would they do that?
Like a demolition crew.
This is what you do. Of course, this prevents you from getting to play with your new toys.
Right.
But this is what you turn off the gas, electric, and water from the outside. Then you shoot tear gas in, and then you have your standoff. And you wait.
Right.
If he doesn't have water, electricity, or gas.
20 hours was their limit. They couldn't take it anymore.
They were like, wait a minute. If we do that, this might be more than 20 hours.
And, my new show's coming up. Breaking Bad's coming up. We got to get in there.
Because I'm tired. I saw you lean up against the post. Get in that paramilitary gear and go and tear that place up.
Done. Hey, we got the police softball game coming up.
Oh, we can't miss the softball league. Oh.
So the third and final story out of Texas. That 20-hour standoff, that was in Denver, Colorado. And then the other one was out of St. Louis. A small organic farm out of Texas was raided. Massive police action this week. Aerial surveillance, SWAT team raid, and a 10-hour search for weed. Turned up herbs. And the cops said, well, we're here for code violations.
Oh, I've had that happen before.
The guy looked...
not that exact scenario.
The report claims the guy looked like Jesus.
Oh, that's definitely probable cause.
Hippie in Texas. So, but this other one I have a one last sound clip for. Again, in Texas, old man. He's 91 years old. Real old man. Breaks a hip, leaving him lying in his own fecal matter. This is what the SWAT team did to break into his home to find a supposed grandson living with him that had a warrant out.
Wait a minute. Did they come because he had a broken hip, or did they come to pick up the
They
warrant?
come to break the hip and find the boy.
Wait a minute. They broke his hip?
He threw him to the ground, broke his hip, now he walks with
Well,
a kid.
he's aiding a criminal. What do they call that?
Aiding and abetting.
Was it when you...
He said they wasn't there. He said, ain't no kids here. We don't believe you. We coming in.
Do you have a warrant?
We got new equipment.
Okay.
So here's him speaking, and then his lawyer gives a little synopsis at the end.
That happened with over there, and after they left, I tried to get up there, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't go. So I just crawled over and laid on the floor right down through here. And my sister had called paramedic, and they came in here.
The thing that concerns me about this is it looks to me like a conspiracy of silence. Things like this don't happen in a vacuum. And there's nothing we've been able to get that identifies the officers, that identifies the action that occurred. We have our clients' information, but I had to hire a professional investigator just to get enough facts to determine whether I should file a lawsuit or not. And I'm convinced that the facts are adequate to file this lawsuit, and we'll find out now that we have some way to get the accurate information.
So they knocked him down, broke his hip, and because he couldn't move, he deuced himself, and his daughter found him a day later. She called the ambulance.
Wait a minute. They didn't tend to him?
No.
What? Dude, and somebody's got to go to jail for that.
And the lawyer said, I couldn't find any credible evidence that this guy really was telling the truth. The cops came and broke my hip. The lawyer's like, I just couldn't find anything. So I sent special investigators to find it out, and they found it. We got a lawsuit here, right here in Riverside.
Why, they should.
We got a lawsuit right
so
here
the cops
in Riverside.
came in to get the kid, injured him, and then left him?
Yep, ain't no kid.
Oh, wait, there was no kid inside?
No, ain't no kid.
They were looking for a kid that wasn't even there?
Nope.
Cut the light on.
There you go. They told him to cut the lights on so they could come in. He wouldn't do it.
We're going to talk about Seinfeld?
Hands up, don't shoot.
We're going to talk about Seinfeld?
We are.
Oh. So you found the audio? Mr. Producer. Putting it together.
I've always had a thing for black people. I like black people.
What?
Yeah.
Is that racist?
Yes. Yes. That's what you say when somebody gets mad at you because you did something racist, and you try to defend yourself by saying, "Oh no, I like black people. I have black friends.
Okay, let's listen.
One of my best friends is black."
Oh, you're not.
Or African American. I don't say black because that would be racist.
Apparently, Seinfeld went on the show with Harvey. I keep Paul Harvey Weinstein.
There's so many Harveys.
Harvey Weinstein is from TMZ. I'm a lawyer. That's Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, okay.
So here's the clip of the show. Apparently, they're best friends. And Harvey went on Jerry's show. Jerry has a new show, Comedians in Cars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Comedians in Cars drinking coffee.
Okay.
So what you do is comedians go in a car with Jerry, and you ride around town drinking coffee talking about life. Well, that happened the prior day. Then the next day, Jerry went on his show, and this was the opening to the show.
You had a roommate in college.
Yes.
That you told me about.
Yes.
Who was this guy?
Larry Watson. He was the first black friend I ever had. I grew up in a white suburb. I didn't know any black people. Now, what's funny about that? Why are you laughing at that?
See, already, that's funny as hell to me. And everybody else tighten it up, getting your little, you're parking your butt up. Where's this going? But that's honest though.
And you know, I don't even feel comfortable, and I don't even feel comfortable saying I've always had a thing for black people. I like black people. Is that racist? I'll tell you why I like them. They're funny. They're really funny.
And I'm going to have a moment with you. I developed a serious affection for Jewish people. Seriously.
Yeah.
And you know why?
Why?
Because after I found out y'all own everything, I said, I got to be friends with them.
He was funny. Most people I know are comedians, so that's why they're funny too. But just the black families and black people are fun-loving people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if they don't have the money, they make life good another way.
Yeah.
And I like to be around that. I like to be around people that make life fun and funny no matter what. But I loved how black people talk. I like the words that they use that I didn't know.
Yeah, this was crazy.
I never let a window up. I pushed it up. I lifted it up. Black people, let it up. And the first time he told me to let the window up, I didn't know what to do. I said, "You mean it wants to go up?" And we're stopping it?
We were in the car yesterday, and we got the top down, right? It was a nice day, and we're rolling. And then I said to Jerry, I said, man, why don't you let the windows down? He said, they want to go down? And he told me this whole thing about this guy, man. And then the weather, you didn't know about the weather.
Yeah, we went to college, Oswego State, New York, which is very similar weather to here. It's in that same horrible... What were we talking about? The hawk.
Yeah.
The hawk. So he said the hawk is coming. And I remember the first time my roommate, my first black friend, told me about the hawk. I had never heard of the hawk. You heard of the hawk. She's nodding. White people don't know about the hawk. I don't know about the hawk is coming, he used to say. The hawk. What is that? I said, if the hawk is coming, maybe we should let the window down.
See, we in this drop top in a 57 Chevy Bel Air, which is my, like, dream car, man. So we rolling down. I'm going, man, this is crazy, man. This hawk is on me. And he went, the hawk? Then he told me the whole story about his roommate, man. I think it's really, really cool, man.
The other thing, another one I learned that I thought of after you left, cut the light on. He told me to cut the light on. Well, I go up to the switch. I don't know how to cut it. I can flip it on. I can flick it on. I can turn it on. How do you cut it on?
Hey, this is great. Come here, lean forward. Look at that black guy right there with the coat on.
Yeah.
He's not laughing because he don't even see the joke in none of this. That brother's sitting there like, cut the light on. What? Well, cut it on then.
This goes on for a while. It's about a 7-minute stint. If they go into the different terminologies,
I find the differences in language. I never noticed that.
At the end, it comes full circle, and I'll tell you what. Even Steve Harvey said that races should get together more because we learn a lot more about each other. Huh. There's something to be said about that. For us not to be able to sit here and listen to Jerry and Steve cut up about Jews and black people, and he is a Jew, and he is black, and they're comedians, and they're best friends. How can't we do this?
Well, I think that's great, but some of the stuff he was saying, and I honestly feel like
Jerry was such a white boy. Saying it.
Steve's saying, I honestly feel like him saying, I've developed an affection for Jewish people.
Right.
Honestly, felt like he had to throw that out there to save him.
Oh,
because it felt like he started to go down the wrong path, and instead of saying, this path doesn't seem like the right path, he just kept walking down it.
Well, when you say this,
I've always had a thing for black people. I like black people.
Ooh.
I don't.
It doesn't come off right because it sounds like
you're liking somebody because of the color of their skin.
That is the actual problem with it. The actual problem with it is maybe he just means culture. When he says black people, maybe he means I like people
I wish you would have said,
who live in what we consider black culture.
I like the black culture. I've always liked that whole surrounding of the black culture, because whether you have money or you don't have money, you always make it happy. Life has always got this craziness going on,
and
in the black culture.
If we're talking about black culture, I don't agree with that characterization. But he just said black people. So the black people he know to black people.
He know to black people.
They apparently are very positive, happy-go-lucky people that come from a very, very poor circumstance. But, I was just playing poker with a very affluent group of black people yesterday, and I'm not even sure if they grew up poor at all. One of them was a negative Nancy, and the other one was really happy, funny, hilarious, and he was an engineer. But I think he was probably raised in a very affluent family. I just don't really get how in Jerry's little world If you're black, you're poor, and you make a positive thing about it.
What is that? I don't, dude. I don't, dude.
First of all, that's probably the exception. For everybody, not just black people. You take all the poor people, black, white, Hispanic, whatever, you find a couple diamonds in the rough.
Well, and
apparently he only knows a couple of the diamonds in the rough.
Right, and if you are infatuated with the dialect, the terminologies that they use, or the words that they use, which I'm fascinated. I find it hysterical, especially when my friends tell me that perp means you're a liar. You stop perping me.
Yeah, and that
Why
was
you
one that I
perping,
did
man?
know. Yeah.
You're always perping me. Look, he's perping again.
Yeah, I knew that. That goes way back.
I didn't know it meant liar.
Well, it means it's an actual verb.
You're like
so
playing games on.
It's not a liar. Like if I say you're a perp, I haven't. That's not as common as using it as a verb.
Okay.
Why you perping, man? Why you perping?
Right.
And that means not only could it mean that you're actually lying, like the words, but you could also be perping in action, which would be doing something fake.
Right.
Being
That's
fake.
what I'm trying to say. Being fake.
So
yeah.
But I didn't know. I never noticed the "let it up" or "let the windows down" or "cut the light on." I never noticed that.
Yeah, let it up. Cut the lights.
I think we meant to say. I don't think they say "let it up." I think it's "let them down." I don't know. Do they say "let the windows"? He said "let the windows up." But I think that if they say "let" in regards to windows, it would be "let them down." Let the windows down. Why would you say "let the windows up"? Doesn't make any sense. Let the windows down sounds more.
How would you close? If
All
you
right,
want somebody to close a window,
let me backtrack a little bit.
If you want somebody to close the window, what do you say? Let them up.
Maybe I've never.
Won't you let the window up?
I've heard the phrase "let the windows down" before. I've heard that before. I've never heard "let the windows up." I never heard that. Cut the light on. I've heard that.
Okay.
I think with that, cut the light off. That means like cut it off. It makes sense. I don't know.
Cut the light off.
Yeah, cut it on. I think he's just going backwards with it. Let the windows up. I don't know.
He was into this for a while. I mean,
I find it fascinating that I don't know about Steve. Steve's a very sharp guy. I'm sure that he knew that he was going down a very awkward path.
Can I get you something?
This mofo buttered in at the bone. Take me.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama didn't raise no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
Say Cuddy ain't saying when you say be doing everything.
Chump don't wanna help, Chump don't get the help.
Say can't hang, say 7 up.
Jive ass dude don't got no brains.
There you go.
God.
From the greatest movie ever made.
I believe that is on the top of all the top 100 comedies of all time. It's almost always right at the top.
Hands down. When I'm about ready to show this movie to my kids.
Well, there's one.
Except for the one part that runs across the screen. Do you know, I was probably about...
You've told this story. I'm not sure if you told it on the air.
7 or 8. Maybe somewhere around 7 years old, 8 years old. We were at some friend's house that I'd never met before. And I was with my dad, and we went to their house. It was late in the evening, and us kids, their kids, us kids, we all got bored. And the parents were talking in the kitchen. So their kids went out in the living room and flipped on
Airplane.
HBO.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And had the key in the box and turned it on.
Oh, it was pay-per-view? No, when I was a kid, if you turned
could lock
the
out
key,
HBO.
Oh. Well,
you could lock out all the movie channels.
Okay, when I was a kid, the key in the lock in the box was only for pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
Only. But
So
anyway.
they flipped on a movie, Airplane, and I'd never seen it before. I thought it was funny. I was with the big kids. the very first time I have ever in my life saw flesh and blood.
Bare breast.
Bare breast. And I remember that today.
At that age, that must have been really weird.
No, I lost my mind, and that was the moment I knew. That was the moment I knew that I couldn't tell anybody that I was in the closet.
You had to stay in the closet until today.
Till when I came out of the closet as head row.
Yeah,
Completely.
That's when you knew that you were a man trapped in a boy's body. Wow.
That is a fact, Jack.
Whew.
Whew. So we are winding up to the end of the show. Was there any other little lightnings or anything else?
Well, speaking of airlines, did you hear about the kid who had to change his name?
I did. I thought that was fascinating.
I thought it was. It's not a big breaking story or anything like that. I just thought it was hilarious because I think airlines are criminal.
And it was in another country, which is a socialist country.
Right. So basically, we know American airlines have this problem where they charge you a ridiculous amount in fees whenever you do something like you need to change your flight, day or time, or you need to cancel a flight, or whatever it might be. Huge fees and fines. Well, apparently, a ticket was bought for him by his stepdad.
Oh, his girlfriend's stepdad.
And
he got his name off of Facebook.
And his Facebook name was not the same as his real name. His real name is Adam Armstrong. And as a tribute to Batman, he had his name on Facebook as Adam West.
And so the father bought the ticket under Adam West.
Right.
So in order to change a ticket, it was going to be $347
Way
to change
too
the
much.
name.
That's obscene.
And he found that if he changed his name in real life for $150.
Yeah, it was like $150, so he's going to save a lot of money. He went ahead and did it. So now Adam Armstrong is now Adam West, and his girlfriend is looking forward to the day that when she gets married, her last name will be West also.
Amen.
Wow. So there's that story, and then
the VA has been telling the veterans, putting veterans on lists that are they believe incapable of owning a gun.
Really?
Yeah, there's been a huge list, and the veterans have been. There's a big backlash at that, and the veterans are fighting back on this. Well, this week, come to find out, the Veterans Administration has now said, if you want your guns back, sign this document and relinquish all your benefits.
Why wouldn't they be allowed to have a Second Amendment right?
Because the VA is classifying people as too mentally unstable to have a gun.
Yeah, that's an issue. Last thing I have is I guess a poll came out. Overwhelming 72% of Americans say that undocumented immigrants should be allowed to remain legally in the country, provided they meet certain requirements.
Poll. That's got to be doctored.
Well, I could tell you my opinion, and this is just based on. I know there's a lot of purists out there who are like, get rid of all of them, send them all back to Mexico or wherever they came from.
If you're illegally here, I think you should be sent back.
Well, there's a problem with that. Number one, a huge percentage of older illegal immigrants have legal children here. And some of them are older. Some might be in high school. They were born in America maybe 14 years ago. They're in high school now. Right. They're legal U.S. citizens because they were born in America, which that could be another
because
topic.
Because of the 14th Amendment Proclamation, Emancipation Proclamation, which is stretched and twisted.
Yes, right.
To the liberals' agenda.
So that right there alone can be changed. Here's this very important, and a lot of people who listen to our program are probably going to be jumping out of their skin when they hear me say this, but what's done is done, and we can't cry over spilt milk. I don't think you can come back and kind of renege on what we have all agreed on, which is that all these people that have been born on U.S. soil are American citizens. If you want to change that here going forward, that's fine. Right. But you can't say, all right, well, from here on forward, if you have two illegal parents that have a child on American soil, you're no longer a legal citizen. I'm cool with that. However, you can't go back and say, well, all of you that have grandfathered into this, you're no longer grandfathered in. You're now illegal, and we're going to send you to a country you've never been in your entire life. So my point is, we can't cry over spilt milk. We can't do all that stuff. Let's change everything for the better now, and that's going to allow,
Well, the problem is, though, is that when they say they're going to build a wall, they never built a wall.
They need to.
When they say they're going to do this, they don't do it. It's a very slippery slope.
And one thing at a time. Let's build a giant Berlin Wall between all of Mexico and all the states that border Mexico. Make armed guards, huge fences, electric, surveillance, all that stuff. AK-47. Well, maybe not that far. I mean, I want them to be wearing the Russian uniform.
Okay.
I want the pinchers. The pinchers.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So Google's president came out and said, "Yeah, we had one of our unmanned cars have a rear end wreck. He actually hit me.
Okay.
In the rear end, but don't worry about it. We've got this taken care of.
Got some bugs.
Got some bugs working out. By 2030." No humans will be driving cars.
I could see that.
It's 14 years from now. Vince Vaughn.
I'm not going to say no humans, but there's going to. I think we'll have a lot of driver cars or whatever.
Sure, and that's fine with me. Vince Vaughn comes out in support of the Second Amendment.
Man, what a courageous person.
He may never work again in Hollywood. Say, I support people having guns in public. Full stop. Not just in their home. We don't have the right to bear arms because of burglars. We have the right to bear arms to resist the supreme power of a corrupt and abusive government. It's not about duck hunting. It's about the ability of the individual. It's the same reason we have freedom of speech. It's well known that the greatest defense against an intruder is the sound of a gun hammer.
And by intruder, we mean the communist police state.
Right. Communist police. George Soros, bankrolling Democrats fight in voting rights, has $5 million in the hunt for litigation contesting limits of early ID voters. George Soros, a very horrible, horrible person.
He is the devil.
Yeah.
He's not going to hell. He runs hell.
Yeah. Well, he shows up in hell, and the devil. Oh, George. Oh, hey man, good to see you.
All the minions are like, hey, devil. Act busy. George is here. Oh man.
And last but not least, Japan. A Japanese firm sells a human pillow cell phone holder.
What?
It looks like a human baby, maybe the age of
4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Unless the woman holding it is really tiny.
She's Japanese. She's tiny.
She's like 3'6".
Correct, average height. And so the cell phone fits inside the human doll, and you hug and snuggle to it while you're talking to your beau.
Huh.
Kind of creepy.
It's almost like you're talking to the baby as if it was your boyfriend.
Yes. And that, folks, is the end of the show.
End of the creepiest show we've ever done.
At least for now. Stay tuned next week. Yeah. It will get worse.
Peace out.
Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and iTunes.
Hey, let the windows up. And cut the light out.
Cut the lights.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.